Howdy y'all. So thank you so much for being patient with me while I was unable to produce educational content for my Patreon last month. Long story short, my day job lost 2 employees and therefore I had to fill in for them. I didn't have a day off in 30 days and I was so extremely burnt out between trying to fill orders for clients while also being at my day job. As much as they wanted me to be there, I was not in the right headspace, nor did I have the time to create the content I usually bring for you all. So thank you for being patient, and let's get today started. This month's lesson will be starting from step 1 all the way into the end for a custom-made cup. So the base of this cup will be this nice green color, a handle to handle up to the tubing. The blue is the base, yellow is going to be the rings around the cup, orange is going to be the handle, and this pink to mix in with the orange for the handle decoration. I have a circle template, a pencil sharpener, and my kiln shelf, and that's what we're going to use to create this piece. So the first thing I'm doing is introducing my handle into the flame. I'm going to heat it up, I'm going to flare it open. Now, fun story, which is I have 3rd degree burns on my pointer finger, which usually carries the majority of the weight for my projects in my right hand. Unfortunately, I brushed my hand through the flame on accident, and therefore I'm unable to even bend that pointer finger during the filming of this video. I'm just showing you that I'm wiping off any of the kiln dust with my cardboard cutout. You can use any cardboard, just cut a little notch in it, and then you can rub it up and down any piece of hot glass, and you'll take the kiln dust off without catching it on fire because how dense that cardboard is. Here I'm constricting the end of that tube. I'm just making it the same size as the flare on my handle here, and I'm going to connect them in the flame. I'm going to ease the thicker piece of tubing into the thinner handle. I'm going to let it set up for a second, and then I'm just going to give it a nice slight pull, just like that. And we have a nice gradient handle. I don't want there to be a sharp edge from the color on the tube to the handle. I want there to be a nice sloping action because I want that heat to very slowly recede into the handle if it needs to at any point. As you can see, I've lightly introduced the tubing into the flame at the end of the flame, introducing it slowly down towards the face of my torch. And now I'm going to just work the heat into the wall weight of my tube. And I'm giving it just a little wiggle. I'm seeing like where the malleability is of the tube. I bring it out to my marver. I make a cut on the side of my marver at a 30-degree angle. I blow on it, I go back in, and I decide that I want to go ahead and take my V-cutter and make a nice, sharp, and clean cut. So I'm rolling it in the V-marver. I'm not pressing, I'm just rolling. And now I'm going to blow and pop the tube off. Something else you're going to notice about this video is that not all parts of this video are filmed. That is because it was reaching the heat between 103 and 111 degrees in my studio that day, simply because of how hot all of my equipment gets, and it's because it's so close to me. I don't have my kiln across the room from me. It's literally right next to me on the bench. And so because I have to put my phone near it, my phone ended up shutting off multiple times for certain sections of this video because of that. So I wasn't not able to film every single bit of this video. I am sorry about that, but I tried to get as much as possible, as much as my film or my camera would allow me to film. So what I did was I closed in the tube. I allowed the tube to melt back down in. I blew it out slightly. I want the tip of that tubing to be the same wall weight as the rest of the tube. And now I'm working back down. After I attach my punny, I work back down towards the handle, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull some of that tubing out next to the handle, and then I'm going to make a heat break by resting it into my marver, giving it a 90-degree angle cut, and that is going to prevent a lot of heat from traveling down that larger section of tubing and coming back into that handle. That clear is so much less dense than that green tubing, and so I'm trying to mitigate any type of movement down into that handle as I condense and blow out this tubing into a large round shape, because what we're going to do is create a mug. So we need a pretty large ball, at least, 2 inches in diameter at the very least. So you'll see that I'm moving extremely quickly, and that is because this video is on 4 times speed and sometimes even 4.5 speed. And that's because I had to take 8 hours worth of footage and condense it down into 2 15-minute sections. So I don't want you to think, or I don't want you to have a skewed vision of how quickly these things are achieved. Like I said, these 2 15-minute videos I'm dropping today are 8 hours worth of work. So here I'm condensing the tubing, I'm blowing it out, I'm bringing it into the marver, and I'm allowing the marver just to set the outer wall weight. I'm allowing it to set up the exterior wall while I blow out the interior. Now that I have blown out the entire section of tubing, now I'm coming in and I'm focusing on the back shoulder of this tubing, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack all that heat in that shoulder, and then I move to the tip like you see here, and I'm going to melt all that backwards. I'm trying to get one nice big molten moving ball. You're going to see I'm going to use my second hand, or my left hand, to actually hold some of that weight. It's because I cannot use my pointer finger, and my other fingers are actually not trained or strong enough to hold that much tubing without any assistance. So I am working with a learning curve in this video, unfortunately, due to the third degree burn on that finger. So what I'm doing here is doing multiple heats. I want to make sure that the interior and the exterior wall are about the same temperature when I blow out, because I want it to be nice and even, and I want to make sure that the glass is not lumpy or bumpy anywhere. So here in a second, I'm going to feel very confident about the heat that I've packed into it. I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to keep it just a little bit pointed down. I'm going to blow into it. I'm going to see there's a little heat variation, so I'm going to go ahead and go back in. I'm going to do a reheat before I press any more air into it. I don't want there to be any weird variations within the interior wall weight. And even though the outside might look great and round and beautiful, when you open it up, it might have little wiggles and ridges inside, and that's what I'm trying to avoid here, because I pulled all that tubing down. Now I'm trying to blow it all back out into a ball. And here in a second, my camera is going to cut off. So after I blew it out, I went ahead and detached it from the tube with this handle, little clear puntey, and I simply took my scissors and I cut away the excess on the end of that ball after I removed the clear handle. Now I'm taking my calipers and measuring the exterior of the cup. This measurement is what I'm going to base all of my other measurements for this entire project off of. You take the base piece, create it, and then create everything else around it. Here I found something larger than the cup because I want to make something round around the cup. And as you can see, I'm going ahead and double checking. It's going to work really nicely. I want one of the supporting features to be nice and bright pink. And so I'm going to take my iron blocks, I'm going to lay them on top of this, and we're going to go in with our hand torch and we're going to heat this, and we're going to move it right around in a semicircle. I'm not going to go all the way around. I'm just looking to have half of this circle to support the base component, or the central component, of my cup. All right, so we're going to make this straight piece of rod a round semicircle. Enjoy. I'm now moving my anchor points. I want to focus on the other side of that semicircle, so I move the bricks to make sure that I have the leverage I need to then start moving the back side of that rod. before I do anything else, I'm going to take my cup, I'm going to measure, I'm going to make sure that there's enough room and it looks good, and it does. So I'm now going to detach the excess on the arms. I'm just going to use half of that circle. I'm going to clean up those points where I detach because I'm actually going to add on a 90-degree angle arm. Here are my little arms. I'm going to attach them by adding a block, coming in with a stringer, and then filling in the spaces in between. I'm trying to be very precise. As you can see, I want it to look nice, crisp, and clean. So there's my stringer of the same color, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to fill now. I'm now taking off the clear support and going on the other side doing the exact same thing. So after I take off this clear support, I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a support from one side to the other, because what I'm going to do is go in and fill in any divots, any uneven spaces, and make sure it looks nice, crisp, and clean. Remember to always double check your work before moving on to the next task. Here I'm making the handle. I'm going to be layering royal jelly onto Tangy. I'm using the entirety of the royal jelly stick. I want it to be even, one side to the other, 50-50. So I'm going to be applying the entire stick as I move down the rod. Here I've attached a clear rod, and the only thing that I'm going to be doing in this process is I'm going to be melting in both colors together to make a seamless melt, because I want to twist it. And if I twist it while it's not completely melted in, I'm going to get these like weird striations and divots, and to avoid that, just melt it in fully and then twist it once it's all one cohesive rod. All right, now that it's all nice and melted in, I'm going to go in at the opposite end and I'm going to start twisting. I'm going to heat up a section, give it a nice little twist, let it set up, move down, give it a nice little twist, and let it set up. I know this isn't the most fun and amazing thing to watch, but watching somebody else blow glass is sometimes more informative than somebody telling you how to blow glass. So I hope this is helpful, just seeing me work, seeing how I angle my arms, seeing how I'm using my marver, seeing how I'm using my flame, how I'm adjusting, doing micro adjustments, how I'm letting things sag or set up. I hope that seeing me perform these demos is helpful to you and to your knowledge of glass. That's going to be it for the first section of this video, and now on to the